It's a disgrace. This thing ought to be ended immediately. The judge ought to end it and save his reputation. Thank you very much.
Are you happy with the lawyers?
Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, basically saying exactly what the truth is in less words than I can. There's no crime. They don't know what the crime is, and they didn't present a good case. I want to bring in Greta Van Susteren, host of On the Record. Greta, do we have you there?
You do.
All right, cool. So, Greta, what's your take on this whole scenario, start to finish? Have they presented a case? Is it even a case from the get-go? And how have they strung it along this long?
All right. First of all, I wasn't, obviously, Carl, I wasn't in the courtroom, so I don't know what the evidence was presented. Having said that, though, let's not forget that Stormy Daniels is the one who tried to get money out of Trump through David Pecker, and there was a threat that if he didn't pay, she was going to go public. That's called extortion. She was never charged. Then the case went to the Federal Elections Commission at some point, and they declined to do a civil penalty to Trump. Then it went to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York. They examined the case, investigated. They declined to prosecute. Then it went to the DA's office, to Alvin Bragg's predecessor, to see if he wanted to prosecute. He investigated the predecessor, determined that there was no case there to prosecute. So then Alvin Bragg comes into office saying he's going to, basically get Trump. But he looks at the case. He declines to prosecute. But then sometime later, he's convinced by someone in his office that he's going to prosecute. So there we are. We're in court. So then Trump gets tried in this indictment, which I have to tell you, I still don't understand how it stands constitutional muster. For the life of me, I can't figure out what Trump was charged with. I got the misdemeanors that have been expired by the statute of limitations, but there's so much more to an indictment, which means you have to inform specifically what he's charged with, and that was not identified. So then we go into opening statements, and the prosecutor says for the first time that the records were falsified in order to commit a crime to influence the election. Well, that's what every politician does, tries to influence an election. It can't possibly be a crime.
Well,
so
Greta,
during the course,
real quick right there, they wouldn't let Trump's election expert testify, and that's the hinge of their whole case.
Well, that was later on. I didn't even get to that. Look, and I guess I'm getting down in the weeds for you, but I got to tell you, Carlos, I taught evidence as an adjunct professor at Georgetown Law School, and I would give Judge Juan Merchan and the prosecutors an F for the outrageous introduction of evidence of Stormy Daniels, where she described the sexual positions of the former President Trump and what he was wearing. That had nothing to do with whether records are falsified. It had nothing to do with the influencing an election. It had everything to do with trying to poison the jurors against the president. They knew better. They all knew better. And there's a specific rule which says where the prejudicial impact greatly outweighs the probative value, whether the probative value means what it tends to prove, that it should not be allowed. Well, Judge Merchan didn't care. He didn't care at all, and he allowed it in. Shame on him. He knows better. So anyway, I can go through so many elements of this case from a legal standpoint. I wasn't in the courtroom for the evidence, but even before you get to any case, the law's got to be fair. And we go into this case with a very uneven playing field.
Yeah, well, our own Christina Thompson was there and taking extremely copious notes on this whole thing. I want to talk about something a little bit quicker on this. I only got about a minute left, but something that's not getting the media attention right now, probably equally as important, or at least it should be, and the media is not paying any attention to it, is Hunter Biden's gun criminal case starts on Monday, and they're just not even talking about it on any other network.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't watch any other networks. Maybe you do, but I'm pretty busy, here at my work. I don't watch that. But I will say that one interesting thing to look for is look at the indictment and see what kind of gun he's charged with. Then look at the photographs I think the New York Post published, and you tell me if that's the same gun. Yep. So Hunter Biden's got a lot of personal problems, and this gun charge. Look, to tell you the truth, I think the gun charge is far less significant than the tax charges, because a lot of Americans would probably be upset about the tax charge. They work very hard and they pay their taxes, and he didn't pay a lot of his taxes. The gun charge, look, the guy's got a drug problem, maybe he violated the law, but used prosecutorial judgment. I would actually have not pursued him on that because he's got so many problems. Yeah. I would pursue the tax charges just in a prosecutorial discretion point of view.